how you can reach out to influencers if you're an agency or if you're running your ads yourself, you're doing your advertising yourself, how to reach out to influencers on Instagram in particular, a step-by-step method, also with some guidelines on what you need to do when reaching out to influencers. So first of all, why should you be reaching out to influencers? What's the benefit of it? So if you don't know, influencer marketing is a huge industry at the minute. It's an alternative to Facebook advertising. So if you are running your Facebook ads, maybe not seeing the results you want to, you should keep in mind there's also other things you can do. You don't need to just stick to Facebook advertising all the time if it's not working. There's a lot of competition on Facebook ads, especially if you're a dropshipping store, so you might want to go into something like influencer marketing, which can give you the bigger chance of having success. There's one company who I talk about a lot in recent videos, which is High Smiles Marketing, or High Smiles Teeth, who have done a lot with influencer marketing. I think they grew from a $20,000 company 3 years ago to now over $40 million in revenue, just by largely using influencer marketing. So this is something that you can utilize in your own marketing, whether again you're starting from scratch, your local business, whatever you're doing at the minute, you can use influencer marketing to great success. So basically, Facebook ads are great, but they're not the only traffic source you can use. You want to diversify and do other things as well. So what are the things you need to keep in mind when doing influencer marketing? What guidelines do you want to make sure you follow? So the first thing is you want to, of course, focus on influencers that actually have good engagement. So that's the first thing. Look for influencers in a specific niche that are going to fit the audience you want to target. So say you are selling things that are related to pets, things that are related to cats specifically. You want to find influencers that have accounts, larger accounts with good engagement related to cats, related to pets. So most of their followers, or 80% plus, are going to be interested in the thing that you are selling. That's the main thing you want to keep in mind. So have a criteria for the influencers you're going to pick out. That's number one. And also make sure their feeds have good engagement and fit the aesthetic that you're going for. The second thing, of course, is you want to start compiling a spreadsheet. Now, I might pull up a spreadsheet of exactly the things you want to note down when you're looking for these influencers. So you, of course, want to have the numbers of followers they have, the average engagement that they have, or video views, for example, what their names are, what their profile is, so you can go back and look at that when you need to. So I'm going to again pull up an example of what my agency and I use when we're reaching out to influencers. So again, compile that spreadsheet and then get either a VA, or either yourself, if you're doing it yourself, or get a VA to do that for you. So you want to then, after you've compiled the spreadsheet, start reaching out to these influencers. So go to Instagram. Again, you can search by hashtags, or you can also just search with other influencers that you already have, and then go to related profiles. Again, I might pull that up so you guys get a full understanding of what I mean. So start searching Instagram basically, and then you want to populate the spreadsheet. And again, I might put up the example. There's different levels of influencers that you will be reaching out to. Some are smaller, some are bigger, and what this is going to allow you to do is, when you are starting to get rates back from these influencers, you can see, okay, this is a bigger account, so we might pay a premium for these. These are lower accounts, so we don't want to pay for these, and so on. It's going to give you a better idea of how to structure your campaigns going forward with these influencers. So that's the third thing, basically. Start reaching out to these influencers. What I do with my agency, again, we have a script that we reach out to influencers by DM on Instagram, and also a script for email, because there's two main ways you can reach out to these influencers. Either, again, through DM, which is directly on Instagram through direct message, or a lot of influencers put email address in their bio, which means they're open to be contacted through their email address, and you want to reach out in that way. So those two ways, and then basically just wait to get back responses from the influencers and start populating that in the spreadsheet that you made in step 2. So again, the rates that they come back with, whether it's a 24-hour rate, a weekly rate, whatever the case, they'll start coming back with rates, and then you can negotiate with influencers. That's basically the key to it. A few guidelines after you've reached out to them and started populating your spreadsheet, you should be able to see, okay, these influencers have these rates, these influencers might make more sense for us to go with because they're cheaper. It gives you a better idea of how your campaigns are going to be structured. And then, of course, once you pick influencers and pay them money to do your shout outs, you want to make sure they've got a few guidelines of what you need to see in the post, whether you have a specific caption you want them to use, whether you want to make sure that they link to you in their bio, which again they should do, and you want to keep track of how the influencers perform. So that's going to enable you to, okay, you see these influencers are doing really well, and then you can see that, okay, we're going to narrow down on these influencers who have done campaigns for us that perform well. The influencers that don't do well, of course, you want to scrap those and just double down on the influencers that are working for you. So again, these are just a few things you want to keep in mind. when reaching out to influencers, how I reach out to influencers as my agency at the minute. So you can do this whether you're a sole person doing your marketing or you've got a team. You can follow a process like this to reach out to influencers properly, track the how your campaigns are performing, and that's going to give you good success with influencer marketing. So if you're new to influencer marketing, you're new to trying to advertise your store on social media, it doesn't always have to be Facebook, it doesn't have to be difficult. You can use influencer marketing and get good success with this. So once again, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next video.
It's E. Kelly.
Okay, so I decided to walk you guys through how exactly you should be reaching out to influencers. So this is going to follow up on what I spoke about a few seconds ago, and actually walk you guys so you can see step by step how to do it. So firstly, again, we need to criteria for influencers. These are just a few notes that you want to make sure you look out for. Large enough following. You want to make sure the influencers have a large enough following, say 5,000 plus at least. Look out for engagement rates. Important criteria. You need to make sure the engagement rates are good. So even if you find an account that's got 1 million followers and it's only got 200 pieces of engagement on that piece of content, or you've got an account with 10,000 followers but 5,000 people engage with the content, perhaps the one with 10,000 followers is going to be better. So again, engagement rates are the most important thing. Even more important than following actually is how engaged the following is. The more engaged an influencer's following is, the more they're going to actually engage with the shout out that you give, and the more likely they are to drive to your product page and actually purchase and so on. So keep an eye out for a good engagement rate. Don't reach out to influencers that have large followings but nobody engages with, because they're going to be probably expensive and it's not going to be a successful anyway. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Make sure there's an alignment with the influencer and what you sell. So if you're selling sports gear, you want to make sure that the influencer's audience is catered towards actually buying sports gear, if that makes sense. So even if, for example, in the past I had to reach out to models to sell beauty products for females, but then I had to make sure a large percentage of their following was not males that were just following because they look good. So I hope that makes sense. So you actually want to make sure there's an alignment with who you're selling to and who the followers, the main followers of this influencer is. Again, a lot of things are going to come with trial and error. So you might not fully know which influencer is going to do well before you actually go with them for a shout out, but these are things you want to keep in mind. And I mean, if you are also building a brand, you want to make sure that the aesthetic of the influencer fits your brand. I'm going to put an asterisk on this because you don't always have to do this. The most important, of course, is if it can be profitable, if it can get you results, but of course you also want to make sure it can fit your brand. So these are the criteria that I would look out for, just in case it's not obvious as well. Make sure the influencer is in the same niche as your products. So these are things that you want to keep in mind. Again, when reaching out to influencers, have these criteria in mind with any influencer campaigns that you're doing, and make sure that you follow these steps. So the second thing that you want to do is what I'm going to walk you through in a second, which is starting to compile a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is going to keep track of everything that you need to know basically when you're running an influencer campaign. Alright, so this is an example of the kind of spreadsheet that you want to set up in order to reach out to influencers, in order to track things properly on any Instagram influencer campaign. So first thing, you want to have the name of the influencer that you reach out to, the Instagram ID link. Of course, that's important so you can see who the influencer actually is when you go back to check whether they're male or female. This might matter for certain products it doesn't matter. A profession, again, just so you can have an idea. It might matter in terms of which influencers work well. And again, once you start reaching out to the influencers and you start actually doing shout outs, you can see maybe certain profession does very well in terms of results for your niche. You want to keep track of all these things. Email details, so you can of course reach out to the influencers. Location, it might matter if you're targeting different countries. Say you're just targeting the United States, you want to make sure of course they're located in the United States or they're predominantly there. The number of followers that they have, again, this is just to keep track of things. And there's something I missed out, but you want to also have engagement rate. So again, yeah, you want to have the average engagement rate on their pictures or videos, and you can note this down in here, so you have an idea of what kind of engagement rate you sort of can expect from that influencer. And then here you also want to have a column saying if you reach out to them or not yet. So for example, if we reach out to this influencer, we put down yes, have they responded, yes, and then the rate is, let's say, 100 for 24 hours. Just an example, but also, as you can see here, we've got different color coding here. What I do with my agency and what we do is, the black is for influencers over 20,000 followers. The red is below 20,000 but more than 5,000, and then the blue is less than 5,000. So again, this gives you an idea of the type of influencer you're reaching out to. For the blue influencers, a lot of the time, less than 5,000, we like to structure a deal where perhaps we send a product, we send something for free to them, and then they give us the shout out. So it's not a paid shout out, basically, it's just a free shout out in exchange for a product. Also with the reds, we try and negotiate a deal like that where we can just send product and they give us shout outs. So we're again not using any money. This is good for people who have a lower budget. Try and negotiate a lot of free shout outs with people in the red columns and the blue columns, and then you can basically not spend any money, start getting sales in, and then you can invest on more expensive influencers or your Facebook ads and so on. So that's the way to kind of bootstrap your business. If you've got not much money, it's still a way for you to get sales, start advertising, start marketing your products without really having to invest a lot of money. And of course, the black influencers, you tend to have to pay for them. They've got rates because they know their value as an influencer. So with these influencers, again, they tend to be perhaps more expensive, but you can find gems who are underpriced, so to speak, and then you can get good value for your money with these influencers as well. So let me just give you an example of how we would search out these influencers. Again, say we're selling products in the cat niche, selling a cat trigger to something related to somebody who likes cats, or let's see. So for example, we just type in cat in Instagram, and let's see what comes up. So this is let's check this. We're going to open this account here and see what they've got for us. So once again, just giving you guys an idea of exactly how you want to structure these campaigns. Make it easy for yourself, or if you've got staff, make it easy for your staff to reach out to influencers. Make it easy as well to keep track of everything and how the campaigns are performing and so on. So this is an example. We've got one influencer here. They've got 38,000 followers, so a substantial following. You want to put the ID link in here. Dash, they're not male or female. What kind of account is this? It's okay, they haven't put a link to DM them or anything like that. So email details dash full name. Let's put this as the full name. Again, of course, this is probably not a real name, but let's just put that in here so we know. Location, Asia. I think from the language it might be Asia. 38k followers. Let's see the average engagement. So this has 1,000 likes, 36 comments. This has 7,000 views, 2,060. So let's say the average likes are 2,000 and average comments are 30. Just again being on the 2,000 likes, 30 comments. Let's see the video views. 7,000 video views, 6,000 video views, 7,000. So let's say 7,000 video views. 7,000 video views. So again, this is this is an example. Let's go to Cats of the World and see what kind of account these people are. Okay, Cats of the World. There we go. So this is a big account. Obviously, they do shout outs because they've written out there. 1.2 followers. Account. Okay, let's take the URL here. You're neither male or female. Cats of the World. Insert advertising. Let's take this. And then put the email details in here. Okay, so you can kind of see how we're going to build out this spreadsheet. So at the end, all this should be filled. You should have all this filled out with different influencers, and then you can get your VA, or you can do it yourself and just start literally going through all of them with email and sending them emails. So we'll send this one an email, and then if we have other emails down here, we're going to send all emails using a script that you have. Basically, with the script, just make sure that you state who you are, state why you're reaching out to the influencer, because they've got a good feed and you want to structure some kind of collaboration, and then make sure you have a call to action in the script, which is basically asking them what are their rates, and they're going to come back with rates that you can basically put here. The rates that they give you are not fixed, so you can sometimes they're fully fixed, but most of the time there's room for you to actually negotiate with these influencers and structure a good deal for yourself. Most influencers might give rates for 24 hours, and you can ask them as a trick their rate, not a trick, but ask them their rates for 4-hour period, which is going to be substantially cheaper for you, because most of the engagement anyway comes in the first 4 hours of any Instagram post. So you can do it that way. So, and then start filling out rates here, like for example 50 for one post and so on, and then you should have this whole form filled out, and then you can start to see which rates make sense for you by looking at the engagement rate, the followers, and then looking at the amount that you have to spend, and then choosing which influencers make sense for you. And then of course the influencers that you pick, you want to make sure you move them onto a different spreadsheet where you keep track of what the influencer is, how much you pay them, and the results from the campaign. So again, you can see in the future all the influencers you worked with for that particular brand or that particular store you have, and then see which influencer worked well, double down on those, and kind of scale in some way your advertising with influencer marketing. So I hope this made sense. Hope you guys understand how you can reach out to influencers with success for your stores, keep track of everything, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon this week for another video.